actually have a lot of awareness in the draft phase and just the way that they approach it and the edges that they end up getting it inside of this phase is really nice for them. FlyQuest, this is going to be a very telling game for them. Can they bring North America its first win?
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot on their shoulders, and it's not just for North America. This is for FlyQuest as well, right? They need to try and get a win here in order to have any chance of getting out of this group. It's going to be a tough one, and both of these teams are looking at each other as their opportunity to try and turn things around. Of course, wanting to turn that 0-1 into a 1-1. We are already in the draft here with Camille and the Swain being taken off the board, and over the other side, the Shen and Ash going to be denied and augmented further by that Caitlyn. UOL getting rid of those. I love the Swain bands. Absolutely brilliant. Gadget is basically Inspector Gadget there towards the bottom side of the map. He just does all sorts of stuff. And it is very, very fun to see as another first pick Renekton.
They waited for me.
They did. Now we're getting flooded. Absolutely flooded.
Well, here we go. B1. Renekton going to be locked in. Let's see how Unicorns Love want to respond to this. They do a lot of tricky things inside of the draft, and I'm looking forward to seeing if any of that happens here today. Power of Evil is going to pull out anything. Super interesting. It's another big question mark.
Yep.
All right, Orianna going to be the first lock-in.
Yeah, Ari's certainly very high priority, especially in the play-ins. We've seen her be less of that first pick or ban type champion here in the group stage, but still definitely very, very strong. And taking it away from Power of Evil makes some sense. This guy did like to do some pretty crazy stuff with the old Orianna, probably closer to when he was actually a part of Unicorns of Love himself. Power of Evil been playing for a very, very long time. In fact, my very first cast overseas was Unicorns of Love in a promotion tournament. It was back with, Vizicachi on the squad, Power of Evil there in the mid lane, Spawn and I in a different country. And now we've come a very, very long way. And he is on the other side of the coin. Nanasik is going to be locking in the Graves as the Ornn is taken away as well. UOL are getting basically everything that they want. And there's an Electric Bear, Crocodile, and Syndra combination on the side of FlyQuest. LS, I know that you've been wanting to talk for a little while, but I didn't know how many good things that you'd have to say. So let's focus on UOL's side of the draft.
Well, I like how you already know, Atlas. As the amount of scaling on Unicorns of Love is very scary right now, and Ornn very good against breaking Syndra if she's going to be the only isolated long-range champion that FlyQuest are going to have on their team. The other thing that is perplexing me is Renekton just got counterpicked. We'll see if Solo can manage to overcome the matchup or just win it. As later in the mid-game, late-game, Ornn is just going to be a complete monster. He's not going to be movable. Graves is a vacuum answer to Volibear, so it's interesting to see that Santorin wanted the matchup. Syndra coming in as well, knowing that it's Orianna, but Orianna could be pivoted away somewhere. Yeah. We've seen Unicorns of Love do some crazy stuff. Twitch and Ezreal now.
Well, so far at Worlds, I mean, Orianna's lost games in the mid lane. She hasn't lost in the bottom lane. She is 100% win rate, LS. Bottom lane, Orianna, I believe it was Gadget that did it as well, because he is, of course, the guy that does like the awesome dudes there towards the bottom side of the map. Shout out Republic for coining that particular title. As Twitch going to be banned away, of course. Very, very powerful here. See exactly where the minds of FlyQuest are going to be going for this final ban. Both Jhin, Caitlyn, and Ezreal, and Ashe taken away from Wild Turtle. As the Lucian also going to be off the board. That could have been one that no man's played, but I personally like him on the Vayne. That one's a lot of fun, as Gadget is going to take away the center. So no fun stuff, just going to be a pretty standard one here towards the bottom side, unless it's going to be Heimerdinger center, which could have been really fun.
So this is really interesting because right now you're looking for long-range marksmen to counter Senna, or you're looking for a mage. Obviously Varus not very popular anymore. Misfortune, one of the original answers to Senna and Aphelios from a long time ago. She wasn't quite a part of the trinity that was Aphelios, Senna, Varus, but she was a disruptor to the original big two when she had her rise to power, and there's the Lux coming in. So they're trying to offset and abuse some of the weakness that is present of Senna. But the scaling on the side of Unicorns of Love is absolutely massive. Garen being hovered, not entirely sure as to why. They're going to go with Rakan, and that perplexes me a little bit now. It is one of Ignar's premier champions.
Absolutely.
But thematically, he's running in headfirst with Volibear and Renekton into Ornn, Graves, Senna, Orianna. So there's a little bit of theme discrepancy.
Yeah, just a little bit. This is definitely a composition that wants to win pretty dang early. Otherwise, everything is going to hell in a handbasket. And you can see UOL, they're recognizing that just a little bit, just trying to play some triage there towards the bottom side, as it is going to be Senna Tahm Kench down there.
And this is what I was talking about Unicorns of Love's drafting, is they seem to be aware throughout the draft phase of what the opponents are trying to do, and then just layering it pretty consistently. And I feel like they exit the draft phase with a pretty comfortable edge. It's going to be very easy for them to play. Mid-game and late game need no introduction with Ornn on the team. This is going to be pretty interesting because, again, onus on FlyQuest to try to do things in the early and mid-game. A lot of that is, like you said, going to be initiated through Power of Evil. He's the one that needs to get things going. If Solo can get some sort of an advantage early on, that's going to be pretty big as well, because it's not something that you would entirely expect.
No, and that's part of the worry here. We'll see whether he can do his best zoom or Longshing impression on this Renekton to just utterly dominate this Ornn, because you really need to put him down, and put him down extraordinarily early if you are Renekton in this matchup. Otherwise, it just gets more and more dicey as the time goes on. Electrocute taken here by Power of Evil. He was listening. He knows he just needs that all of the oomph that he can possibly get, so that his gameplay button, his R button, is going to work.
Well, nothing too chaotic unfolding super early on by either party.
No, a little bit calm. Ignar, of course, he's no stranger to us. Of course, played in the LCK for quite some time on a team that you're quite familiar with, LS, while he was over here. But he loves Engage. We saw him hovering the Lux, and I actually don't mind that he switched over to the Rakan, even if it's thematically wrong. I just feel like Ignar, like Mark, is one of those let's go in type players, and if he's not on one of those, does look a little bit worse for wear. So See what he's going to be able to do here with Wild Turtle on his Misfortune. They are going to have some control if they can set things up for Santorin. But man, there is just... Fly needs to do so many things, and they need to do them so quickly here in this game.
And, I mean, Power of Evil's doing a really good job so far. Here in mid lane, quite a very large HP difference. And also, Noman's, he's already chewed through 2 of his corrupting potions.
Yeah, and the health lead is still just as high, so absolutely fantastic stuff here from PoE. As Solo just shoving in. Boss, you know, is down a little bit on health. We'll just have to see how this lane is going to continue to develop. Because we've seen it go completely wrong for Renekton's and the other way around, if you're talking about play-ins. So just have to bide our time, see how this one's going to go as Santorin. On his red buff here, he'll clear that one out and get to work on the rest of the map.
And Graves just going on for the full clear. He knows that Volibear can't really compete with him in the early stages. Nothing to really be afraid of. Santorin, he's looking for some sort of a gank here, and Noman doesn't have teleport. If he dies, this is bad.
This might be the cheese we're looking for. The stun comes down after the flash, as that was just the edge of the orb. Scatter the Weak working out very, very nicely here for Power of Evil, who's now going to position himself well past his minions and try and deny Noman's. Now an Orianna without a flash, that is bad for Nunez, but an Anasik comes on in. There are a lot of minions here, but Anasik's going to flash immediately after Power of Evil. Great Scatter the Weak, not going to get a stun. But Graves doesn't have Quick Draw and isn't going to be able to continue that one. But there are no summoner spells here in this mid lane that are going to do anything in a fight.
And this is actually disastrous for Unicorn's Love, because Volibear was able to get the left side Scuttle Crab, and then because of the priority down in bottom lane, given the nature of the Rakana Misfortune versus Senna Tahm Kench matchup, they're able to rotate and deny the right side Scuttle Capture. And so, even though Graves had gone for a full clear, and Volibear didn't get all of his camps, picks up the 2 Scuttle Crabs, and that offsets everything and actually puts Santorin ahead.
Yeah. Speaking of being ahead, Boss is doing a great job here towards this top side, as Anasik is going to turn up, see what he can get done on his phase rush Graves. He's going to be spotted pretty quickly, as Solo now might be in trouble. There's the flash, but it's not going to get him far enough, and First Blood is so easily gifted over to the Pineapple.
And Boss getting an assist early on, getting that kind of pressure relief, it's really big for him. And Solo, I mean, his lane was in a bit of an awkward spot.
Yeah, it felt like a little bit of desperation, right? Wanting to try and get that wave crashed in so that he can continue trying to deny as much as possible against Boss. But you can see in those CS numbers, it did not work out. You got a teleport advantage now for Boss. He's got 4 minions in the lead, and he'll get back to lane with some decent stuff here as well. Remember, no flashes here in this mid lane as Noman's chasing after Santorin here as Anasik going to come in. That's a great smoke screen, but Power of Evil just says goodbye to Orianna. And that's going to be a kill back here for FlyQuest. They're still in the game.
Yeah, that's a very important kill as well. Power of Evil now puts himself on the board. His lane was in a fantastic position. He had so much CS coming in. And Noman's, he's going for the Tear of the Goddess. So it's going to be the Seraph's Embrace, most likely, into the Rabadon's Death Cap so that he can get the Death Crown from Ornn.
Well, Nanasik is going to continue his assault on the map. It's a great double up there onto Gadget. Does do a fair bit of damage out of Wild Turtle. Nanasik decides he's not going to be able to quite make it in there, but now Santos does get the tongue lash, but otherwise not too much more is going to come out, and it's just another 6 saying, give me some of that experience. This Gadget does land a decent snare. Good knockup from Ignar, though. Does do a bit of a chunk over to Gadget.
Manages to actually buy a lot of time, though, because now the next bot wave is already here, and this isn't a cannon. So in Gadget and Santa's recall, you can see Santa's, he switches to teleport because he needs to TP down back into bottom to try to maintain the freeze. Otherwise, Wild Turtle and Ignar, they would crash this wave and then pull it. Here we go.
Yeah, Boss gonna have to flash to get out of the way, and he is going to keep himself alive. Santos is in here, and he's got the unsealed spellbook. He'll be absolutely fine. As now Solo just going to be taken out. Didn't really want to be there. He was in between the wrong turrets. And Santos just going to get himself back down towards that bottom side, just going to waddle his way down there, and that's why you take Unsealed Spellbook, because it means the frog is well and truly unclogged.
Yeah, and Meanwhile, Graves, he's just getting to invade Santorin's red side jungle. Ignar going to try to interrupt it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a really good quick draw to get Nanasik out of the way. He focuses on the monsters. Doesn't want to be killing Rakans here at this point in time. Now some Honey Fruit going to be taken down as well. It's all about PvE here as Power of Evil gets a fair bit of damage there onto No Man's. 1-0-0 now for the Syndra. Is North America's hope in a European mid laner once again here in this game, as his Syndra is going to have so much stacked on her shoulders.
And Wild Turtle and Ignar, right now, they do have a pretty comfortable CS advantage.
Oh, God.
Down in bottom.
So Solo's ahead in farm.
Yes.
That is definitely good news, but he's not winning trades anymore.
No.
On this Renekton.
And it's probably all over. I would be very surprised to see if he ever regains footing in this game.
Wild Turtle going to get exhausted. That's very important, as that bullet time would have killed. Santos once again going to be able to survive, gets himself out of the way. Gadget now safely underneath his turret, and does have the heals here for the Tahm Kench.
And Gadget just trying to get as much farm as he possibly can down here in bottom. Doesn't quite have his Tear of the Goddess yet.
All right.
No Man's.
Yeah, gets electrocuted. Does a fair bit more. As we mostly see the phase rush, so you're not going to have those little electrocute procs coming out. Does mean that Power of Evil might be able to surprise with some of these kills, the amount of burst damage that will be able to come out. His Lost Chapter is now completed. See where he's going to go next. That Luden's probably in the cards.
And so right now, even though the gold is pretty much completely even all across the board, this is a bit worrisome for FlyQuest because it just means that everything is going to keep gravitating towards a stable mid-game. And if that happens, very beneficial for Unicorns of Love. No dragons taken for either team yet, which means that if we do have a soul, it's going to happen very late into the game, which means ornaments are going to be online by that time. No Man's, he might get completely
trouble. The quickness comes down. There's the grand entrance. Power of Evil says goodbye to the Orianna. The Clockwork Orb Smith is taken off the Rift. And FlyQuest will now back away, looking for even more as Nanasik through here, just clearing out vision where he can, but not going to be able to grab that ward. And it looks like Shelly's going to be next on the menu.
Santorin gonna pick up the Herald with his teammates, it seems. No one's really rotating. I'm actually a little surprised that Wild Turtle's coming over here.
Yeah. Well, they just want to try and get as many kills as they can. As in goes Ignar, good knock up there, but the Devour is in. Santos might have actually stepped a little bit too far forward, though, as there's the on-on. Gets a decent knock up there, but only onto Solo, as Santos has made it completely out, and Nanasik gets it with the collateral damage. Goodbye, Bear. And it is going to be FlyQuest taking down the Rift Herald, so there's at least that. They'll get some plate gold for it, but I don't know whether Santorin needed to die there.
So the thing about this as well is that it's not just that Unicorns of Love gets the kill, they also get 2 minion waves on Gadget that Wild Turtle misses out on, and Gadget's going to get a turret plate. One of these minion waves is a cannon. This is an enormous amount of experience and gold that is just lost out on. So even though they get the Rift Herald, they get the 100 gold there, it's going to convert into some turret plates. It's not just a 1-for-1 or a 1-for-0-0 trade. Unicorns of Love actually make out better.
Well, Ignar looking to try and even it out there as No Man's chunked to about half. No grand entrance targets there with Santos turning up. Orb on the floor, but Ignar is just going to wander around it, good sidestepping. Stun onto No Man's, and damn, Power of Evil does a fair bit of damage, guys.
Yeah.
This is only a lost chapter, PS. He's going to be very scary after his next back, which is probably due pretty soon. I do want to check in on some items here as Wild Turtle. He's had a bit of a different idea. Spoke to Boris a little bit here, and they didn't really come to terms with one another, as he's going to be going back to the lethality. And this is something that used to be the absolute build that you'd go for, is I'll have to hold that thought as Abyssal Voyage comes in, and Nanasik gets the smoke screen down. Slowed is Wild Turtle, but he's got a W, as he's trying to prestige his way out of here. And whilst looking good, he's also going to stay alive. As Shelly turns up to the mid lane, and FlyQuest know that it's about Power of Evil and getting him ahead.
Yeah.
They will funnel this gold into him.
Syndra is the only champion that can save them in the later stages. The scariest thing, though, is that Ornn can reliably reach her without FlyQuest being able to have a say about it.
And also, UOL just got a dragon, so
right.
the Soul win condition is looking very grim for FlyQuest.
Even further delayed. The other thing about Warren is the ability to interrupt the bullet time from a distance is another pretty big factor that's going on there. Power of Evil now, he does recall, he picks up the Luden's Echo, also gets the Sork Pen boots, so he's going to be hitting pretty hard.
Yeah, that's actually a huge power spike here for Power of Evil. So 12 minutes in, this is where the Syndra's going to start getting work done. But speaking of work, I mean, Boss is absolutely that right now. Grabbing himself turret plates, just demolishing these towers. And a minute and a half left on those turret plates as well, so he has a chance to grab even more up there. Still, he's down by 12 CS, so we still have to mention that as collateral damage. Just try and clear out the minion wave. Power of Evil does still have his R button, and there are some spheres on the ground.
And they're trying to just defend that last turret plate and the first blood turret from just solo going over to Syndra.
Yeah.
That is why he ults the wave and just tries to guarantee that it is still standing. Meanwhile, though, Solo, even though he's died twice, one of which in very unfortunate circumstances, the call is almost complete, so that's going to help offset things, and his CS has been doing... His CSing has been really good. He might die again, though.
Yeah, the Slice the Dice does not have Flash, as Anonasic would have probably liked to have a collateral damage, but after that minion wave, not going to have it available to him. The Santorin's going to turn up. Sky Strike just to try and do some minion damage, but Solo, he can't follow up to anything. As FlyQuest lose yet another one as... Oh no, they predicted the charge! Oh, sorry, the Slice. Oh, that's just... Yeah, hate to see it. As Nanasic will grab yet another plate, most likely. No, not going to be able to get there. We've got about 20 seconds. Is that another ult for the minion wave?
Another ult.
God.
Syndra is... She's not happy. I wonder if the turret can just be autoed. I'm really curious what the HP on it is, because it might just be worth taking 2 turret shots to get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 3 seconds left.
Oh, it looks like...
I don't think he's going to be able to get it. We didn't...
No!
No, he wasn't able to grab it.
And that's actually a pretty important defense by Unicorns of Love.
That's a denial of 200 gold. You'll take that any day of the week.
And, oh, Boris is seething. I see the Serrated Dirk in Graves' inventory. Hopefully that's going to be the Yumu's Wraithblade.
Yeah.
That ends up getting upgraded by Graves. If anyone's going to build Black Cleaver this game, it should be the Senna.
And she's already most of the way there.
Already going that way, so she'll get the Obsidian Cleaver later on in the game. So I really like the itemization coming out by Unicorns of Love here.
Yeah, I think Sheepy and Boris, they've got some deals. So Boris doesn't sell UOL the bad stuff.
Boris can't corrupt the Unicorns of Love.
It's just that's not how it's going to go.
That's how it is, Atlas.
Well, Boss up here towards the top side, demonstrating that Ornn does indeed do very, very well into Renekton yet again. Finally has a CS advantage for himself as well, as Anonasic going to turn up and try and defend. But Boss is just going to be diving turrets and putting crocodiles in the sky. This is not great for Solo.
He's going to be forced to reset. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, but MF?
Yeah, okay. Let's see what Wild Turtle can get done. Collateral damage avoided completely. And bullet time, okay. Well, you may as well press the button if you've got it available. But it is not required, as Boss going to have to try and get out of there. Sky Strike coming on in. Santorin gets on around. I don't think they're going to be able to dive him, though. As now even Ignar is here. If Boss keeps moving, it might be an opportunity for Ignar to get through. There's the stun. Is Ignar going to be able to get the knock-up? Do they have any damage? Is the question. It looks like they may, as the Ignite was ticking down. It's not going to be enough to flash forward. Ignar is also going to fall, though, as that's going to be the electrocute plot. I think picking up the kill onto Nomad. That's why you take the Keystone, ladies and gentlemen. As now Wild Turtle's going to take down this outer turret, and they're like, Solo, it's fine. We will win this game for you.
And this game is, it's going back and forth. Power of Evil is keeping them really in this game right now. And also the big shutdown, it helps propel Renekton back to a point where he's somewhat stable.
Yeah.
He almost has his call complete. He's 3 CS away from it. Just dinged it right now. Black Cleaver is going to be the next item of choice for him. And so, given that Misfortune picks up a little bit of lethality, Black Cleaver will have a little bit more value in amplifying Wild Turtle's damage.
Yep, also now going into the Essence Reaver, so it is going to be a crit build as the game goes on. There's now UOL lying in wait. I believe that was Gadget and Ananasik there in that brush, as you can see now, as we toggle the vision back on again. No Man's caught out of position once again. And the Orianas here at Worlds have actually been doing very, very well. But this is a 0-3, and we know that Oriana that doesn't get any gold at all is super duper useless. No. As, okay, goodbye, Mr. Crocodile. Yeah, not sure what that one was about. 30 seconds now in the Death Realm.
They gotta be careful with the Rift Herald. They don't want it to charge onto the inhibitor, so they should just let it crash into the mid-tier 3 turret and then have that, call it a day.
Yeah, well, actually Shirley gets a bit of a love tap onto the inhibitor turret as well. Doesn't want to be taking down any inhibitors at this particular point in time. My friend LS told me about that. Had something to do with freezing minion waves. I don't know, I didn't pay too much attention. As Boss just charging his way towards the bottom side of the map. Try and get things done. And so let's have a look at this again. Let's see whether it is... Oh, there it is. Thank you very much. Our Axe replay there showing the power of electrocution.
Well, it does seem like Unicorns of Love are just going to be trying to stabilize. They did pick up the Cloud Dragon. Infernal Soul is going to be the Drake this game, and that's a pretty big dragon for both of these parties. A little bit more so for Unicorns of Love because they're going to get the amp coming in from the ornaments, but also if Oriana gets extra AP, it actually converts to EHP, given that she shields her teammates and whatnot. Yep. Senna as well, things of that nature, going to be pretty good. FlyQuest, they're up right now just under 2,000 gold, but Unicorns of Love are the ones that are still in the lead, but Power of Evil has the chance to change that.
We're looking for the fight. There's the Devour already on cooldown. Santos is probably going to fall down, and he is, as Wild Turtle grabs that one. The Shockwave does basically no damage, as now No Man's forced to run away. Wild Turtle will get to work on the inhibitor turret, perhaps, as Solo trying to fight Boss yet again. Does get the Cull the Meek. You're down to 100 health, Mr. Crocodile. Don't go back in. Oh, he's looking for it, but he just gets fire breathed on him. I have no idea why he decided to go back for that one. That was definitely very aggressive, and I appreciate that part of it, but otherwise not too much, as now Boss definitely going to be dead as Wild Turtle helps clear that one up. It's Power of Evil that somehow collects the kill. No idea how. The FlyQuest will get to work on this turret, so it doesn't matter. Solo seems to just be dying over and over again, but FlyQuest are grabbing the things that they need to put themselves in a position to win.
Yeah. Now they're up 3,500 gold, so a very big swing.
Yeah.
In the last minute and a half.
Can we get a counter on ults used on minion waves this game, by the way?
That would be pretty good.
I think we're going to need one of those eventually. We'll put that together for the next time. Something like that, guys. There's been a lot of them.
And it looks like Oriana, this is a very interesting thing. No Man seems like he is aware, I'm actually not going to make it to Death Cap without trolling. And so he's building Aether Wisp so that he can still have presence in the next dragon fight and in the mid to late game transition, because he's very starved right now. He has a very little amount of gold. We'll see what he can end up doing with it, but now it's a 4,000 gold lead for FlyQuest. This is about where they would need to be against this Unicorns of Love team composition, because once Orin starts bestowing ornaments, that's a lot of unseen gold that is going to be given over.
Oh no, did Boris get into the ear of Ananasik? He's got that ruby crystal, and I'm a bit nervous.
Edge of Night. Edge of Night.
Oh, okay, thank God. Okay.
Yeah, edge of your seat, I understand, but...
Oh, I don't know, man. Ugh, scary. Very scary stuff. However, if that is the case, that's going to be absolutely fine. Power of Evil. Just very, very close to his third item. And second item, Void Staff as well, showing the power of that one in the last couple of ults that he's thrown out. Just a sliver left on this outer turret on the top side of the map that Solo is desperately trying to keep alive. As No Man's looking to try and clockwork wind up that one to death, and he's going to be able to do so. It's a bit of extra money into the back pockets of UOL.
And this is a very strong timing for FlyQuest. They should be able to get this Infernal Dragon. And I say that because Boss, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to complete Infernal Mask and get it. Edge of Night was completed for the Graves.
Boss, very, very close to dying there as the bullet time careens forward. That's going to be the inner turret taken down, but Ignar doesn't get any of the knockups. It's the ult defensively there from Santorin, who flashes out of the Dawning Shadow. Oh, Power of Evil, he gets exhausted and shut down by Ananasik. And oh no, Solo slowed down so early there, but flashes on forward. The Devour denies denies the Renekton, and more fire being breathed forward. The flash on top of him by Boss. That's why I chose this name, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. Extraordinary stuff from the top laner of UOL. And FlyQuest, team fights are getting more and more difficult.
And they did all of this over the 500 gold tier 2 turret down in bottom lane and then just trying to push around it. So now things are just looking really doomed because Unicorns Love, they're going to pick up the Infernal Dragon, I assume. Power of Evil, he does have teleport and his death timer lines up. So they're shoving right around here. Ultimate comes out, Santorin trying to disengage. Power of Evil, no flash. They get onto him with the exhaust, so the unleashed power not able to do enough. Renekton comes in.
Santos is an absolute god, by the way. Just saving everyone at every turn. Oh. Exactly right, LS. It's feeling like we're getting towards the end times. Even if FlyQuest still have a gold lead, that'll fib to you. Because you can see these ornaments. I believe Captain Flowers stated the statistical advantage that you pick up in terms of gold lead with the 2 items that have been upgraded on Boss, and it's to the tune of approximately 5,000. So there's your gold lead right there, ladies and gentlemen. Bramblevest also fantastic on this on.
Boss, level 14 now, so he's able to start bestowing items, and so probably going to be the Obsidian Cleaver first on Senna to get upgraded. We do see that Graves is also going for the Black Cleaver. He has that Phage, and he also has Edge of Night already. So it's not going to be the Yumu's Wraithblade that gets picked up, even though there's no armor on the enemy team. And so that's not there, not present.
Yeah, so the Edge of Night was there, so that was a thumbs up.
Yep.
And the Black Cleaver comes in immediately afterwards, so that's a bit of a thumb.
Can only resist Boris for so long.
I mean, at least the thumb is halfway in between, something like that. So that's better than very.
It will make him beefier. It'll make it harder for Syndra to get the threshold and execute him.
Yep.
It'll give him a little bit more survivability. And that does help against a very stifled Renekton, who is just so far behind this game. And again, as we mentioned earlier on, thematically has a really hard time conducting himself against this UOL team comp.
Well, Santorin taking a bit of damage here as the piercing darkness does take him down to about half, but he will make it out of there. The Volley Bear not going to be dying just yet. As Spellbinder comes in for No Man's, I think I started talking about this before, but I'm going to have to stop talking about it yet again as Power of Evil going to have to flash to get on out of the way. There's the Shockwave to pick up the Syndra. He just wants to throw down an ultimate, and the Devourer is going to deny it entirely as Ignar dancing around but unable to actually lock anyone down. Now FlyQuest just back the heck out, and they're asking themselves, what the heck are we supposed to do here? 2,500 gold in the lead is FlyQuest, but as you can see, on the Rift right now, it just does not feel like they have any advantage. And the Baron is being started here. Ignar, he can do some fancy stuff here on the Rakan. Right now, UOL seem to just be ignoring him as Santorin does have ult available. No flash. As Ignar down to half. Over goes Ananasik as the Ornhorn comes down. Not going to get the knockout. Oh, does find Santorin actually as in goes solo. Can he take down No Man's? Remember, this Orianna is also very, very low, but he just gets kited. It's exactly late game Renekton, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he does. Unfortunately, unable to get too much done. And does stop the Baron, so I told a lie. Did get that one done. But it's a little bit sad there, Solo not quite able to get enough damage down fast enough to take out No Man's.
And in 2 minutes, we're probably going to see the last stand that FlyQuest can make here. They need to win the fight. Death Cap is completed on Syndra, and so that'll be a pretty big item completion for Power of Evil here. But Boss, probably about to ding 15 soon. He still hasn't bestowed any of the items yet. Senna, 40 souls, 55% crit right now.
It's getting scary.
Or Gadget.
The scaling really starting to come in here for UOL. Sort of all at once, right? Because we are going to have those upgrades start coming out as well. There was a point that I was trying to make before, which was the fact that this Spellbinder is now on No Man's. That involves a needlessly large rod.
Yes.
And that needlessly large rod could have been a death cap, which I think would have been better, even if you had to wait a little bit for it. Because UOL do have that luxury, right? They're on Soul Point, and they're not at any risk of losing the game anytime soon.
So
could have been a good idea.
I think what he's feeling right now is that, yes, he could wait, but if he completes Spellbinder right now, he's going to get the most power and utility that he can for Infernal Soul, and they might just consider, if we get this, we win anyway. So that might be Noman's thought process right now. Boss, probably very close to Locket of the Iron Solari, and that is so much EHP that he's going to be able to give over to his teammates in the fight. It's actually probably just going to outright invalidate Renekton and Santorin on this Volibear.
It's one of the first times I've seen Locket third item for On. It's just a great day, isn't it? As,
the sun's shining.
It is. It is. Especially if you're a UOL fan. As they are skirting the area, looking for their opportunity to come forward. Wait for that On to throw out that call to the Forge Guard. Ignar taking the front line, does have Battle Dance, of course, so can be very slippery in these fights. As FlyQuest, I think they've got one more chance to try and find a team fight that's actually going to work out for them. As the vision is going to get cleared here by UOL.
Syndra needs to show up solo. You can see he's looking for the flank. Here we go.
The Dominus has been popped. Oh, that's a great knock up there from Ignar as they get it towards the backline. The Tom Kench already taken down. Gadget destroyed. No, he's going to survive. Solo's taken out, but it is going to be Santorin that locks down the Dragon. They deny the Soul, and they win the fight in the end. It is 3 for 1. Only the Crocodile's dead, and FlyQuest, they're used to that this game.
And you know what? I mean, it was a worthy sacrifice there.
Absolutely.
In order to make this whole situation unfold. Now they're going to be the ones that go over to the Baron. Death timer's way too long on Gadget. Santa's and Graves is not going to be able to get there as well, as he is dead. He does not have teleport, Alice. As
thank you very much for pointing that out. I'm glad that we just didn't plonk him down in the middle of the Baron pit just to try and make things a little bit more exciting. But it's going to be this Red Bull Baron power play that's going to show us so much about whether or not FlyQuest can get themselves a victory. Because this is going to have to spell something like 6,000 and a dead Nexus.
Yes.
Because they're still on a clock. As look at Wild Turtle, untouched. Just so much damage with that bullet time.
This is all a byproduct of them not having vision to the south and not knowing that Renekton was coming from the flank. If they had that angle and made it so that Solo couldn't get onto anyone and that Gadget and Noman's couldn't be reached, they would have had a much easier time. Orin would have had a completely free ultimate onto everyone as if it was a runway and a plane was about to take off, but they didn't get that. And so now the game is going to persist on. Very surprised by Noman's. He picks up the Void Staff. So no ornaments going to be given over to him. Santa's on the Tom Kench, not going to have any for himself either.
Oh my god. That's a lot of Ornn damage.
Yeah.
We mentioned that Boss had been doing pretty well. That's a pretty decent demonstration of it, and despite Solo has died 8 times, still managed to put down 14k, so maybe we should be a little bit nicer to him. He's still at least able to get in there and cause a ruckus as Gadget. Bit of poke there onto Ignar. FlyQuest, you can see them pushing forward. They do have pressure in a couple of lanes. Santorin up here towards the top side, making sure his double siege minions stay okay. The Bear Croc combo. Sounds like a meal deal at a fast food restaurant. As Santorin wants to try and take down this bevy of wards he does have available to him. And Nanasik not able to actually grab any sort of kill onto Solar here towards the top side. And FlyQuest are going to use that in order to take down this inhibitor turret in the mid lane. It had regened itself quite a lot, but not going to be regenning anything now that it is lying as rubble on the floor. And Solo going to utilize that one by taking down this inner turret. Okay, that's an Abyssal Voyage, and oh no, Solo in a bit of a rough spot, but does slice and dice, and FlyQuest get here to save their Crocodile. And Solo's just standing, look, he looks bewildered. It's like, oh, wait guys, I'm still here.
Feels offended by their attempts. And just a slow and steady advancement here by FlyQuest.
They've played this last section of time, though, extraordinarily well.
Yes.
All of the pressure continues mounting. We mentioned the Red Bull Baron power play. That number needs to get high. It is currently at about 3,000. They want to break open this base. Great double stun there from Power of Evil. And they will take down this inhibitor. UOL feels like they're sweating for almost the first time this game, honestly.
Yeah. This is probably the most stressful of a situation that they have been in. 1 minute's going to be that Infernal Dragon. Unicorns will have, I mean, they're not out of it yet. We're at 32 minutes. It's going to be 33 by the time that Dragon comes up. They have an Infernal themselves. Their champions are very, very strong. I'm not sure if Santorin is going to be able to get to that Locket of the Iron Solari by the time that fight takes place. So Graves going to be quite massive. I think he's going for Death Dance next. No, he picks up a stopwatch. So they're all in on this team fight. If they get the Infernal Soul, they will probably win. It's going to come down to Ornn versus Syndra.
And it's going to be about who Power of Evil decides to remove from the Rift. It can be basically anyone.
There's a 3-level gap, by the way, between the marksman. Gadget down 3 levels.
Wild Turtle.
Against
and
Wild
Flame
Turtle.
Horizon.
Flame Horizon, yeah.
We've been too busy concentrating on the solo lanes that we missed the fact that Wild Turtle has been killing a lot of minions. Like a lot of minions. As he's got an Edge of Night, actually turning that Serrated Dirk into something very valuable here for the Misfortune. It's going to be more difficult for Boss to be able to break through that one in time.
Here we go.
Push out the minion wave. Power of Evil, no shield anymore as Make It Rain comes down and Anasik out of position. They pile on top of him, but the Devour's there. Santos keeps him alive. Wild Turtle in there, and Boss just soaks the entire bullet time. And FlyQuest unable to actually grab themselves a pick. Some abilities on some pretty long cooldowns.
Yeah.
As Wild Turtle, oh my god, look at the stats. And Anasik, Gadget in so much trouble, but the snares come down. Santorin is able to get in there, but the shutdown onto Wild Turtle. He wanted to take matters into his own hands. Power of Evil is still alive. In goes Solo, as it is going to be Power of Evil grabbing the kill onto Gadget. Both teams without their marksman. And Ignat tries to get in, but the battle dance is going to be for naught as Power of Evil against the world. We thought it might be that, but he still had the ultimate. The spears are coming down. Boss is trying to get the hell out of there. This guy is the whole team. They're running away from just the Syndra.
I do not know exactly what's going on here right now.
Oh, that was so close.
This is pretty insane.
He's going to swing around.
Yep.
He's almost in the Chovy position, LS. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's a great stun onto Santos.
Oh, well, I mean, no matter who wins this game, Chovy's MVP.
We knew that.
It's always how it is.
Yeah. Going to be a little bit more awkward in our next game if Top eSports are able to take it. Is not going to be able to grab that stun. Power of Evil, he's still at full health. Santorin's even getting some poke in there as Boss throws out the Ornn. Not going to land it the first time. There's the Shockwave. Power of Evil might be out of position, but the Scatter the Weak is so damn good. No Man's gets himself the Protect Shield, though. The teleport is going to come through. It's Solo to the rescue. But the double kill is going to still be there for No Man's. He's the one trying to get himself some redemption as well. And Santos will make his way out, but it is going to be denied. It's 2 Infernal Drakes for FlyQuest. And this game is just out of control.
And this is so chaotic between these two teams. And this is going to be yet another song and a dance. That is a lot of free gold in stats given over to FlyQuest by winning that Infernal 2. It's going to make them that much stronger for the next team fight. And also, the stopwatches have been used now by the carries on Unicorns Love. They're not going to have that for the next team fight. But 10 stacks on the Darkseal. No Man's might have Mage Eyes by the next team fight if he elects to purchase that. They're going to go for Baron. And I think they're going to be able to get it. 7 seconds on Syndra.
Yep. Second Baron in the game, but the first one for UOL. Let's see whether they can lock this one down as FlyQuest. We've got teleports coming in, Abyssal Voyage to get Santos into position. And Ignat, he's going to go golden. There's the Dawning Shadow to try and deny the bullet time as the Baron is so incredibly low. Oh, the snipe from No Man's! Santos is very low as well, and the Orianna has been taken out of this fight. Oh my god, the Scatter the Weak. Santorin secures the Baron! And Anasik is going to be taken off the board, and FlyQuest, they are so close to an ace. Only the bottom lane exists for UOL.
And I think they did it. Atlas, I think Power of Evil enough. Syndra's range against Senna, I'm pretty sure FlyQuest have just secured the first win for North America, and they keep their hopes alive in this group with a miracle comeback here.
And against all odds as well. I mean, this composition wasn't supposed to be able to do this as Santos is trying to round up these minions, but it does not matter. The last remaining Nexus turret will fall down, and North America is still alive at Worlds.
Power of Evil on the Syndra. We outlined it in the champ select. That would be the only champion that could really stand against everything with her long range. And honestly, in so many of the team fights, it was like Scarlet Witch versus Thanos on Ornn, as it was really a long battle. Solo, even though he had a very poor stat line, he actually played a pretty integral part in a lot of the key swinging fights inside of this game. He got the one flank at the first Infernal Soul fight, and then he provided more than enough control. He managed to bring down Gadgets as well, who misclicked on the Blast Cone right behind the blue buff, ended up dying there to the Renekton. Really close battle. I'm excited for when these two teams play again.
Yeah, the second match is going to be very, very exciting. And I'm glad you bring up Solo, because he demonstrated